Let's get it on then, shall we? Mwah. Welcome to Sex on the Peach, your weekly hump day dose of everyone's favourite untalked about topic, sex. Let's get honest, let's get open, let's get comfortable, and let's get into this week's show. Friends, lovers, listeners, happy Wednesday, happy hump day, happy Sex on the Peach day, and here's to the first episode of 2025 coming to you straight out of the gate on New Year's Day. Now, as I've probably said at some point before, I'm not the most new year, new me person because, to be honest, I'm not even sure what that really means. It feels like a lot of pressure to put on ourselves to have to recreate, to have to be shiny and new every 365 days. And it also puts a lot of pressure on ourselves in that new year to deliver in whatever way we want or need. If you've had a particularly tough year, I do totally get that it can be so nice to sort of mentally close a door on a specific period of time. And I will say I often become quite reflective as another year comes to an end. My birthday is late in the year too, so I think all of those reflective periods kind of coincide. But we don't need to turn it all around just because it's January 1st. And when it comes to resolutions, I think it's great to have goals and dreams and things we all want to achieve. But again, sometimes those resolutions can just show up as small habits that can be implemented over the long term. And most of the resolutions that I see dropping on social media at this time of year, they're often to do with weight and fitness. Yeah, I see some career goals popping up. And, you know, sometimes a resolution might be to just consciously take more rest if you are someone who is consistently on the verge of burnout. Full transparency, this is my resolution that I make every single year, and I have achieved it precisely 0 times. But I wanted to put some thoughts out there of things we can look to implement for our relationships and our sex lives. And some will pertain to everyone, and some will for some more than others. After a particularly troublesome 2023, I made some very conscious decisions regarding my sex life and my romantic interactions with others going into 2024. And it changed things significantly for the better. Even if this year was extremely funky for me in other ways. But what can I say? It's rare to have a year that has it all. But I think that this side of our lives can be neglected in these terms. I rarely hear relationship-oriented resolutions, which is wild considering it's such a huge part of our lives in one way or another. So, in keeping with the New Year spirit, we are kicking off Sex on the Peach 2025 with a resolution-inspired episode. Here are some thoughts, guidance, tips, tricks, advice to level up your sex lives and relationships in the next year, and hopefully every year after that. So, let's get into it. Here is 2025. Ready, set, oh. People have started their fireworks already, so we might have a little background music for this episode. Anyway, let's get into it. It will come as no surprise to any of you that I am coming in with the thing that I speak about more than anything else on this podcast. Number one, prioritize open communication. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, yeah, thanks, Peach, I know, communication is key, we get it. Let's break it down a little. Because when it comes to your pleasure, your desires, your boundaries, your fantasies, having an ongoing channel of open and honest conversation with your partner or partners isn't just important, it is essential. And I get it. It can be hard. It's not like you can turn around after never communicating about sex forever and just be into doing it like it's second nature. It's uncomfortable to break that barrier. Maybe it's a fantasy you've never shared, or you're not quite sure how to express what you need to experience pleasure sexually. But when you take a deep breath, take the time, and start to introduce this kind of open dialogue to communicate about sex with your partner or partners with no judgment, as long as your partner or partners are willing to listen and participate. And if they aren't, you actually have much bigger problems, to be honest. But you will be building a foundation for trust, respect, safety, and all of that only leads to more intimacy, both emotional and physical, and more pleasure. And that's what we want, right? So whether you are in a long-term relationship, just starting something new, or figuring out your solo desires, focusing on leveling up your sexual communication will help you create a more honest, connected, and pleasure-focused experience. And if you aren't used to this kind of communication, maybe you aren't even used to me talking about it, because if you are used to it, you might be like, shut the fuck up, babe, we get it. But maybe this is the first episode of Sex on the Peach you've tuned into. So let's talk about why it is so important. Well, it creates trust and safety. When you are open with your partner about everything, even your insecurities, it builds trust. It's like laying the emotional groundwork which bolsters everything you experience together physically. Being able to share what feels good, what doesn't, and what you're curious about makes people feel heard and respected. And there's nothing sexier than feeling safe enough to express your true self, especially in the bedroom. It breaks down shame and stigma. There is sadly still a lot of shame and a lot of stigma that society places on sex and sexuality. Whether it's about fantasies, body image, or even just talking about what you want. Most of us grew up with a sense of discomfort around open sexual communication. But when you prioritize these honest discussions, it helps break down those barriers. You are creating an environment where it's okay to talk about anything, from kinks to your need for more affection, without feeling embarrassed or judged. And every time someone else does this, it gives other people permission to do the same. And that is what we need. The more people who can say, hey, I've tried this sexual communication thing and it's really working for me. And then more people try it. Eventually, hopefully everyone is trying it. We can finally remove all of those layers of shame, taboo, stigma that we were brought up with. And it will be just as easy a conversation and as casual a conversation with our partner or partners as anything else we might need to discuss. So take one for the team. Do it for yourself, but also do it for everyone else. That's the only way we keep making waves and can make this happen. It enhances pleasure for both partners. The more you communicate about what you like, the better your sex life gets. That sounds simple, right? But it's true. Maybe your partner has been doing something that feels good, but they don't even realize that that one thing is elevated for you physically over other things. But if you actually say, hey, I really love it when you touch me there or like this, if they give a fuck, then they're going to focus on that. They're going to do it more. It's going to bring you even more pleasure. Or maybe there's something you'd like to try that you are not sure how to introduce, but communicating that desire opens up exciting new possibilities for both of you. It's the most simple equation out there, and that's coming from a gal with a math degree. You know, I don't need any encouragement to bring that up. But basically, it is the most simple of equations. Better communication equals better sex for everyone. It also helps to set boundaries, and they are essential in any relationship, sexual or otherwise. Openly talking about what is and isn't okay makes sure that everyone is on the same page, and it should prevent any uncomfortable situations. So it's important to check in with your partner and set these boundaries as a team so that both people or all people feel respected and comfortable. And open communication isn't just for fixing problems, it's for keeping things exciting too. When you talk about your fantasies, your desires, what turns you on, it keeps things playful and dynamic. Sharing what you like or what you want to explore next keeps the relationship evolving, and it allows all partners to feel more seen and more understood. And plus the excitement of introducing something new or discussing a new kink can add a whole new layer of variety to your connection. So there's a brief outline of the why, so let's talk about how to do this. Well, you need to create a judgment-free zone. Before you start any conversation, it is crucial to set the stage for it to be open and non-judgmental. That means both partners have to be able to express themselves without fear of criticism, laughing, or making the other person feel uncomfortable. You are both on the same team here. Nobody is perfect, and that's totally okay. Sure, a partner might bring up something that's not completely your thing, but we don't yuck other people's yum here. The goal is understanding, not judgment. So make sure you reassure your partner that whatever they share with you is safe, and they are allowed to express their needs and desires, whatever they may be, without the fear of being shamed. Use I statements. So whenever we are talking about desires or boundaries, it's really helpful to avoid it feeling like we're placing blame or making another person feel like they've done something wrong. So we can use I statements to express how we feel, like, I love it when you, or I would feel more comfortable if we. This keeps the conversation focused on your experience and your desires without making your partner feel attacked or defensive. And that's a subtle but really powerful way to make sure the dialogue stays respectful and productive. And yes, of course, we can also take things from a we perspective, like, I would really love it if we could try this, but just completely avoid using the term you. Always bring it back to either yourself as an individual or yourselves as a team working through this together. And check in regularly. It's not a one and done. Communication doesn't just happen once and then you're good to go forevermore. It's ongoing. Make checking in about each other's desires a regular part of your relationship, whether it's a chill conversation over a dinner or after sex when you are engaging in aftercare and you are feeling relaxed and safe. These check-ins create a great space for ongoing dialogue. And that doesn't just need to be about issues. It's also about celebrating what is working or expressing your excitement for what you can try next. And you have to be honest and vulnerable. If you want a deep, authentic connection with a partner or partners, honesty is key. Even if it is vulnerable, even if it is out of your comfort zone, vulnerability goes hand in hand with intimacy. And it shows your partner that you trust them enough to share what's on your mind. Pretending not to be vulnerable helps precisely no one. Who is that for? Who are you performing for? What are you proving? It's a complete waste of time for everyone, because your partner or partners won't learn anything about what you need, and you are just stifling your own needs and your own potential for pleasure. So if you are going to go to the effort of having open sexual communication, if you're not going to be honest, there's little point in doing it in the first place. So feel the fear, feel the discomfort, and do it anyway. It's not always easy. I completely respect that, but the rewards of openness are totally worth it. Ask open-ended questions. Sometimes simply asking the right questions can open up the conversation and spark those discussions. Just try asking things like, what's something you've always wanted to try but never told me about? Or how can we make our sex life even better? These kinds of questions invite deeper conversation rather than just yes/no answers. And they also give your partner space to share their thoughts and feelings in a way that feels natural and unpressured. And on that, be patient and listen. Communication is a two-way street. It's not just about talking, it's about listening. When your partner shares something with you, give them your full attention. Be open to their feelings, respect their boundaries, even if you are surprised by what they say. Sometimes it really takes time for someone to feel comfortable expressing their desires. So let them know that they are safe. Patience and understanding are key. Being a good listener makes any partner feel valued and heard, and that is the ultimate goal of communication. So when you are able to have honest, judgment-free conversations about your desires, your boundaries, your fantasies, anything else that goes hand in hand with this, you're not just improving your sex life, you are also building emotional intimacy in your relationships. You can ensure that your sexual experiences are fulfilling, consensual, and ultimately satisfying for all partners. So if you haven't already, make 2025 the year to commit to open and honest communication. Let's talk, let's listen, and let's make it a year full of pleasure and connection. Number 2, explore new experiences. We all know how we sometimes get in a routine. Same positions, same activities, same old everything. Well, what if we shake things up and add some new experiences to the mix? Exploring new things, whether it's just a new position, whether it's experimenting with role play, whether it's bringing in toys, this can all breathe some new life into your sex life. It creates some new excitement. It can help you reconnect with your partner or yourself in some really fun and playful and exciting ways. Because we all love a little variety, right? We'd all say the same thing about food or the type of movie we want to watch. So why not bring that energy into the bedroom? Whether you are flying solo or you are sharing experiences with a partner, experimenting with new things can reignite passion and remind you that sex doesn't have to be predictable or routine. Curiosity may have killed the cat, but it sure as shit is not going to kill your sex life. Sex is supposed to be exciting and fulfilling. So breaking out of your comfort zone by trying something new is the best way to keep the passion alive. Yes, of course, when we are in longer term relationships, there is always a space for routine or maintenance sex. There is time for that. There is space for that. Of course, every single time we have sex with each other, it probably can't be a brand new adventure, but sometimes we do all need a bit of a reset button. No more autopilot. And trying something new takes it back to resolution 1 because it requires communication and it requires some vulnerability. But When you are both excited and engaged in something fresh, it also creates a new, unique shared experience for you and your partners that can bring you closer together in ways that you probably didn't even expect. At the end of the day, sex should be fun. And when you are exploring new things, you're probably going to laugh, experiment, probably make some mistakes. Not mistakes, whatever. Things might go a bit awry is probably a better way to say it, but all of that is okay. The process itself is sexy. It doesn't have to look like a movie. It's about connecting with your body, your partner or partner's bodies, and your own desires in a playful, relaxed way. Fun shouldn't just be reserved for other parts of our lives. Bring it into the bedroom, and you will notice a shift in your overall sex life. So let's look at some new experiences that maybe you can try. You can experiment with role play. And role play is one of those things that sounds intimidating at first, but once you dive in, it can be a game changer. Maybe you are imagining different characters, or exploring power dynamics, or simply acting out a fantasy. Roleplay can open doors to all kinds of exciting experiences. And the best part is there are no limits. So maybe you want to pretend to be a stranger in a bar. I have a friend, her and her husband do this all the time, and it really elevates their sex life, and I'm obsessed with that for them. Or maybe you want to reenact a scene from your favorite TV show. Listen, we won't judge on whatever that TV show is. But the key obviously will be to communicate with your partner about what interests you. Then you set some boundaries together, and then you just have some fucking fun with it. Maybe you just need to switch up positions. Sometimes that is all it takes for things to feel a bit new again. If you always do it in the same position, just try exploring ones that you haven't tried before. Try some new angles, experiment with intimacy in ways that break that routine, and just see what feels best for both of you. Maybe you're going to try reverse cowgirl for a change. Maybe you're going to see how things feel in a standing position up against a wall. I mean, you can get as creative as you fucking want. The goal is to just explore new ways of connecting that don't feel like work, but rather feel like fun, like an adventure. Listen, worst case scenario, you're going to try a bunch of new positions. Maybe you're both going to be like, we fucking hate these, but at least you're going to have like a renewed sense of love for your tried and tested. So, I mean, it can't really go wrong, can it? Introduce some toys into the mix. They are not just for solo play. They can bring so much pleasure and excitement to partnered sex. Vibrators, dildos, restraints, they all provide new sensations. They all heighten your sexual experiences. So this is a great way to spice things up without completely overhauling your entire routine. And if you are new to using toys in your sex life, start slow and explore what feels right. I do have a very extended episode on sex toys, which is in season 2, if that helps. But you will be amazed at how a small addition can transform your experiences. And if you are a sex toy aficionado, like I am, just try something new, see what else is coming out. As we all know, I work with the company Bellesa, and they have an amazing range. I actually love to see that they have massively extended their range also for penis owners. So it doesn't just have to be the vulva owners in relationships trying out the toys now. Be brave, penis owners. Also get your vulva owner partner or your fellow penis owner partner to try a toy on you. See how it feels. Just let's all keep playing. And on that, try new sensory experiences, because sex isn't just about physical touch. It's about all of your senses, like blindfolds or scented candles or even edible body paint. Yes, I know, we all know I have a bit of a funny thing about candles in the bedroom, but that's a very personal thing that previous episodes will provide the context for. But I do think they are a gorgeous idea for all of you. But these little additions can make sex feel like an entirely new experience. Start experimenting with some different textures, some different temperatures, some different smells. Let's just get those senses tingling. Now, trying new things will mean you'll inevitably step outside of your comfort zone, and that is perfectly fine. But here is the key. You need to set a no judgment rule. You and your partner, or even just you if you are flying solo, should feel completely comfortable trying something without fear of criticism. Sometimes things might not go as planned. Sometimes you are not as into something as you thought you might be in your head, and that is all okay. It's all play, and the whole point is to be open-minded and to learn and grow from the experience, because even if you try something and you don't like it, it's all information. It's all information about our pleasure, our sexual satisfaction. You now know something new about yourself, and that is only a good thing. Now, not everyone is ready to dive into something dramatic or life-changing, and that is perfectly okay. So if you are hesitant about exploring new experiences, just start small. Maybe it's a new way of touching or kissing or trying a different rhythm in bed. Just those small changes can make a big impact over time and help build the confidence to take bigger leaps if and when you feel ready. So try some new things, experiment with what feels good, and just keep an open mind, because there is a whole world of pleasure out there waiting for you to explore. Number 3, embrace self-discovery. Masturbation queen coming in strong here, but honestly, who better to understand your body than you? Self-discovery is one of the most empowering, enriching, and sometimes downright fun things you can do for yourself. It is all about getting to know your own body, learning what makes it tick, and figuring out what brings you joy and fulfillment. And self-pleasure is one of the best ways to start. When is the last time you really sat down or laid down, whatever position you want to be in, and gave yourself the space to explore what feels good? Because too often we are rushing through life or waiting for someone else to unlock our pleasure. But actually, the power is in your hands. When you embrace self-discovery, you get a front row seat to your own desires, which not only improves your solo experiences, but your relationships too. Embracing self-pleasure is the key to feeling more confident and empowered in the bedroom. I am pretty sure that masturbation is the reason I am so confident in the bedroom, because I am so in tune with my own body. And that is why, because no one knows your body better than you. And that includes all of the things that make it feel good. So self-pleasure is a way to explore different sensations, discover what works for you, and understand your body's needs. And by learning what feels best, you can then enhance your sexual experiences with a partner by showing them or telling them. You are literally becoming your own pleasure expert. And the more you explore, the more you find out what really lights you up in the bedroom. It increases confidence and self-acceptance, because when you embrace self-pleasure, you also learn to accept and love your body for what it is. There's no judgment, there's no shame. It's just you and your body working together. And that can be so empowering, because it's a reminder that pleasure is a natural part of who you are. Embracing your desires without shame builds confidence, makes you more comfortable in your own skin, whether you are solo or with a partner. And it boosts emotional connection, which might sound counterintuitive, but spending time with yourself through self-pleasure actually strengthens your emotional connection with your partner or partners. When you understand your own pleasure, it opens up opportunities for communication about your needs and your desires. You become more vocal and more confident about what you want. And again, that only leads to more satisfying experiences together. Plus, the self-awareness that you gain through exploration just deepens your emotional intimacy with someone else. And it improves your sexual health. Exploring your own body also means checking in with how it feels on a deeper level. Yep, physically, emotionally, and sexually. It's a great way to detect any discomfort, any pain, or any changes that might need attention, because you will be more aware of what's normal for you. So if something feels off, you'll be better equipped to address it. Plus, self-pleasure also has health benefits like reducing stress and improving sleep. I mean, apparently, I masturbate like multiple times a day and I'm kind of always stressed and never really sleep. But I mean, I just have insomnia. We're not going to blame masturbation for this. Like, if you all do it, you're all going to have a good time. I think I'm just like beyond help. But basically, self-pleasure is not just about physical release. It helps you take control of your sexuality and your own pleasure. It's basically a way of saying, I am the master of my own joy. It allows you to explore without any pressure or expectations. It's just a very pure, wholesome connection with your own body. It is the ultimate act of self-love and a practice that can bring freedom and more authenticity into your sexual expression. So if this is a practice that you aren't necessarily familiar with, there are some ways to get acquainted with yourself. First of all, you want to create a comfortable space for yourself. Set up a space where you feel relaxed, you feel safe, you feel uninhibited, whether that is candles, calming music, whatever makes you feel good. You just need to create a non-pressure environment where you can explore freely, and then give yourself the time and the space to focus on your pleasure without rushing through it. I promise you, you deserve that indulgence. And it's not just about reaching an orgasm. It's about enjoying the journey. So take your time to explore different sensations. Run your hands over different parts of your body. What feels good? Are there areas of your body that feel extra sensitive or give you pleasure when touched in a certain way? Experiment with different strokes, pressures, and rhythms. It's like a pleasure treasure hunt. You never know what you'll discover. Pleasure treasure, not the fucking rhyme. I can't. Let's move on. Use lube and use toys. Both lube and toys will only help elevate your experience and help you discover new types of pleasure. A good lube is going to reduce any friction, it's going to make things feel smoother and more comfortable, and toys can introduce you to new forms of sensation, whether that is, as we just said, a vibrator or a dildo or something else entirely. Adding toys into your self-pleasure routine opens up a whole new world of exploration. So don't be shy, but do invest in quality products that are safe, body-friendly, and designed for your pleasure. And I know I just mentioned them, but trust me, Bellesa is always a good way to start. And I'm sure they will have some banging New Year's sales because they always have some really good deals on. But you can be sure they are safe for your body. And that is one of the most important things to take into consideration when you are choosing a toy to go ahead with. Take this time to tap into your fantasies. Like, no holds barred. This is your judgment-free zone. Like, let your mind wander. Think about the things that excite you. Maybe that is, again, a role play scenario. Or maybe it's a particular type of touch. Or maybe it's a specific setting. But your fantasies are a huge part of your sexuality. Don't be ashamed of them. They're just a sexy daydream. And give yourself the opportunity to explore them on your own terms. It's a really empowering way to get more in touch with what you want in a partner when that time comes. And being present is really key to maximizing the experience of self-pleasure. Forget about the outside world, just focus on the sensation and how your body is reacting. How does your skin feel when you touch it? What sounds or sights heighten your excitement? When you allow yourself to fully tune into your body and its responses, you create a deeper connection with yourself and experience a much richer sense of pleasure. The most important part of embracing self-discovery is really just being in tune with your body signals. Pay attention to how your body responds, what feels comfortable, and what might trigger any discomfort or pain. By checking in with yourself, you get better at recognizing your needs and what feels best. It's all just about building that loving relationship with yourself and your body, baby. But I would say that embracing self-discovery, self-pleasure, it's a really essential part of understanding your sexuality, your body, and your desires. And when you take that time to explore your own pleasure, you develop confidence and the ability to communicate your needs. So it isn't just a fun experience, it is a tool for personal growth and empowerment. And when you know what feels good, you are just so much better equipped to guide your partner to the same level of satisfaction. So take the time to discover what brings you the most pleasure and enjoy the process of getting to know yourself better. Your body is a beautiful, wonderful thing. Let's give it the attention and appreciation that it deserves. Number 4. Focus on sexual wellness. We talk a lot about feeling sexy and connecting emotionally, but how often do we actually check in on the more practical side of our sex lives, our sexual health? We all know the importance of staying on top of our physical health, but it is just as important to give our sexual health that same love and attention too. I'm talking about getting STI tests, investing in quality sexual health products, and just being generally mindful about our sexual well-being. It's time to treat your sexual health with the same care and priority you would give to any other aspect of your body. Because when you are healthy, you feel more ready to enjoy life, and that is sexually and otherwise. You wouldn't ignore your physical health, so why should you ignore your sexual health? Keeping tabs on your sexual wellness can directly improve your experiences in the bedroom. When you are regularly checked out and feeling confident that you are in a healthy space, you will likely experience more joy, less stress, and an overall healthier relationship to sex. And that confidence, again, translates into more satisfying sexual experiences because you'll be less worried about potential issues. So one of the best parts about staying on top of your sexual health is that peace of mind. When you regularly schedule STI tests, use the right protection, and take the necessary steps to maintain your sexual well-being, you know that you are doing everything possible to stay safe. And that knowledge allows you to enjoy your intimate moments without the stress or anxiety of wondering whether everything is okay. So prioritizing sexual wellness is not just about personal care. It's about trust and communication in your relationships, whether that is casual sexual partners or long-term partners. Discuss your sexual health with your partners. It shows that you value transparency and that you are committed to a healthy sexual relationship. Taking those preventative steps not only protects your health, but also your partner's. It's about making sure everyone involved feels safe and feels respected and that your sexual health is taken seriously. Prevention is always better than dealing with consequences later. So stay proactive in looking after your body and your well-being. Let's face it, when you're not worried about your health or dealing with any discomfort or symptoms, you can just relax and enjoy sex more. A huge part of sex and sexual wellness is feeling comfortable and safe in your body. And when you are in a good place health-wise, you'll feel more confident, more comfortable, and more open during sex. And that is a game changer when it comes to pleasure. So things to focus on, get those STI tests. It is a non-negotiable. Whether you are in a monogamous relationship, dating casually, or just exploring, STI tests need to be a regular part of your wellness routine. It's not about shame or guilt. Getting tested is a proactive, responsible way to care for yourself and your partner or partners. So make it a part of your health checkups and be sure to check in with your healthcare provider about how often you should be getting tested based on your sexual activity. Okay, you deserve the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are healthy and you can pass that knowledge along to your partner. Invest in quality sexual health products. Quality matters, especially when it comes to things like condoms, lubricants, toys, and any other sexual health products you use. Not only does investing in top-notch products improve your experience, but it also reduces risk. For example, using high-quality body-safe lube prevents irritation and improves comfort. Similarly, opting for condoms that are reliable and well-made gives you better protection and peace of mind. Your body is worth the best care, and your sexual wellness deserves quality products that are safe and effective because our genitals be sensitive, hey? Prioritize hygiene. We all know hygiene is key to staying healthy, but when it comes to sexual wellness, paying attention to the cleanliness of your body and any sexual products you use is essential. Make sure you are practicing good hygiene before and after intimate moments, washing your hands, cleaning your toys, being mindful of your general cleanliness to avoid infections. And don't forget about personal care products. You have to opt for gentle, pH balanced items that are safe for your body's intimate areas. Open and honest communication with partners about sexual health is key. Do not be afraid to talk to your partner about STI testing, about boundaries surrounding that, about protection, or anything else that pertains to your sexual wellness. Check in with them regularly, not just about sex, but how you are both feeling physically health-wise. Keep those lines of communication open, and it will ensure that you both feel safe in that side of your relationship. And stay informed. The world of sexual health is always evolving, so stay informed about new research, new products, and best practices. The more you know, the better decisions you will make about your own body and how to protect it. Okay, I know this one sounded a bit strict. It was kind of giving like school teacher, but honestly, focusing on your sexual wellness is an act of self-care and care for your partner or partners. Get tested, stay informed, and treat your body to the best care it deserves. Because when your sexual wellness is on point, everything else can safely fall into place. We're going to move on for the lecture now. Actually, we're not, because number 5 is educate yourself. Gosh, I've really got my teacher hat on for the moment. No, I do feel very strongly about sexual health, so I think that's why I get really passionate about it. But number 5 is educate yourself, because when was the last time you took the time to actually educate yourself about sex and relationships? Like beyond Googling how to spice up my sex life. If you are like most of us, we've all probably relied on what we learned from our own experiences, sure, but also like movies or porn, which is not the most accurate source material. And educating yourself on sex and relationships is one of the best things you can do. It's not boring, it's not awkward, whether it's reading books or tuning into podcasts. There is a wealth of knowledge out there, and it can expand your understanding of intimacy, communication, consent, pleasure, and everything in between. So why not start learning? Knowledge is power. I know like I'm an absolute fucking geek, but it can also be seriously fun, and it's very empowering when it comes to improving your relationships. We all grew up with limited, shame-filled sex education, and let's face it, a lot of societal myths and stigmas make us feel like certain topics are off limits to discuss. I mean, not me, but me until probably I started this podcast. But educating yourself helps you dismantle those myths, and it helps you move past any shame you might have about your body or your sexual preferences. So the more you learn, the more comfortable you will then become talking openly about your needs and exploring any new aspects of your sexuality. And as I'd like to think we all know by now, sex and relationships are all about communication, right? But let's be honest, sometimes it's hard to know where to begin. So the more you educate yourself, the better equipped you'll be to have clear, open, non-judgmental conversations with a partner or partners. Learning about things like consent, emotional needs, different forms of intimacy can help you navigate what might have felt like difficult topics with some ease and some understanding. So if you want to try something new in the bedroom, great. But where do you even start? This is where education comes in. Whether you are curious about kink, non-monogamy, or again, just simply exploring different types of intimacy, learning from experts will provide you with the tools to experiment safely and openly and without judgment. Educating yourself on relationship dynamics, attachment styles, how different people approach intimacy. That can make a huge difference in the depth of your connection with your partner or partners, because the more you understand about each other's needs and your emotional landscapes, the more fulfilling your relationship can be. Maybe you want to educate yourself on relationship practices, communication techniques, even conflict resolution strategies. These can all help you build a solid foundation with your partner. Knowledge about emotional intelligence, love languages, sex positive practices, it all contributes to creating a space of mutual respect and also mutual care. And there's so many ways you can do this. You can read books by experts. There is no shortage of incredible books on sex and relationships out there. So whether you're into relationship dynamics, sexual health, personal growth, there is a wealth out there for you to discover. Or you can listen to podcasts. Bonus, you're already doing it. But I still listen to podcasts from people who I really admire talking about sex and relationships. And I think they are a really low pressure way to educate yourself, because you can kind of do it when you're on the go. You might be driving or doing chores or just chilling at home, and you can just like chuck on an expert-led discussion on anything from relationship building to kinks. You know, it's all out there ready for you to find. Or if you want a more structured learning experience, you can enroll in an online class or course. There are so many educators and sex experts out there offering courses on anything you might need. You know, there's programs that teach anything from the basics of sexual anatomy to more advanced topics like tantra or erotic embodiment. And then you can experiment with what you learn, because knowledge without application isn't as powerful. So the key to truly internalizing what you learn is by experimenting. So whether that is applying a new sex tip or trying a new communication technique, experimenting with what you learn allows you to experience the benefits. And there's no shame in trial and error. You know, if something doesn't work or doesn't feel right, you'll have at least, again, gained valuable insights into what does work for you and your partner. So educating yourself about sex and relationships, it's never going to be perfect. No one is ever going to know everything, but it is about continuously growing and improving in ways that enhance your intimacy. The more knowledge you have, the more confident and informed you will be in your sexual connections. So let's remove the stigma and the shame surrounding these topics and create healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Read that book. Press play on that podcast, because you never know how one new piece of knowledge could completely transform your sex life and relationships for the better. Number 6, practice mindful intimacy. Let's slow things down a bit, and I mean that in the best possible way. When was the last time you were truly present during intimacy? I'm talking about putting away the phone, stepping away from distractions, and being fully in the moment. It sounds simple, but between our busy lives and the constant buzzing of notifications, it's so easy to get distracted. But being truly present during intimacy can transform your sexual connection in ways that go beyond just physical pleasure. Because mindful intimacy is about being intentional, connected, and aware of the moment. It's about focusing on your partner or partners, your sensations, the experience, instead of letting your mind wander off into your to-do list or wondering what's happening on social media. And trust me, when you do start practicing mindful intimacy, you will notice the difference. It feels way more intimate, way more fulfilling, and dare I say, way hotter. It helps you tune into your body and your senses in a way that makes every touch, every kiss, every caress feel way more intense. So by focusing on what feels good and being aware of those sensations in your body, you can experience a heightened sense of pleasure. Whether it's the feel of your partner's skin or the taste of their lips, that mindfulness brings all of those little moments into focus. And a lot of us carry stress or anxiety, and sometimes that creeps into our sex lives. But by practicing mindfulness, you can train your brain to stay in the moment, which helps ease anxiety and just let go of distractions, even just for a little bit. It isn't just about quieting your mind. It's about creating an environment where you can just enjoy the experience and feel present without worrying about anything else. It will also help you to feel more attuned to what your partner enjoys, because you'll notice the little things like the way your partner's breath changes or a shift in their body when they are enjoying themselves. And all of these little moments add up to a much more fulfilling experience for both of you. So this is probably the most obvious thing to suggest, but it's also the hardest. Put away your phone, turn off the TV, and create a distraction-free zone where the focus is purely on each other. The goal here is to eliminate distractions. And if you are someone who gets distracted easily, you might need to, this might sound a little structured, but you might even need to know that you have set some sort of timer or alarm for this intimate time together, because then you almost give yourself permission to be in this moment for an amount of time. That might sound counterproductive, but for people who thrive on structure, knowing that they have a set amount of time to zone out can really help. And then it's about tuning into your senses. Try to notice how your body feels. What does your partner's touch feel like? Can you feel the warmth of their skin, the softness of their breath? Focus on the sensation of kissing, the sounds you make together, the way your body moves. Breathing together can help you to stay present. Deep breathing can not only help you relax, but it also helps to create a rhythmic connection with your partner. So slow, intentional breaths allow you to relax and focus on the sensations in your body, and they help keep your mind from wandering. Instead of rushing through and trying to get to the point, focus on slow, deliberate touch. Spend time exploring each other's bodies, whether it's through massage or gentle caressing or soft kissing. The idea here is to savor every moment instead of rushing through it. And soft, slow touching creates a sense of anticipation, and it builds tension, which makes the eventual potential climax that much more satisfying. And communication is a huge part of being present. So check in with your partner before, during, and after. Ask them how they're feeling, what they like, what they need. And that mindful communication helps you both to stay in sync with each other's desires throughout. And that allows you to adjust and explore based on what's working. And don't forget aftercare. Talking and connecting post-intimacy helps strengthen any emotional bond that you have built during the experience. And take time to check in with yourself and how you are feeling. Are you really present, or is your mind wandering? Are there areas of tension or discomfort that need attention? When you're mindful of your own emotions, body, and desires, you can communicate those more effectively with your partner. So practicing this mindful intimacy will help you to create deeper connections with your partner and enhance the overall sexual experience, because it shifts the focus from the end goal to the entire journey, embracing each moment, each sensation, and each touch along the way. And in a world full of distractions, learning to be truly present with yourself or your partner or your partners is one of the most intimate gifts you can give. Number 7, challenge taboos. Now, we all have those topics or fantasies that linger in the back of our minds, and maybe it's just something you've always been curious about. Maybe there's a sexual boundary you've never dared to cross, but why do we shy away from these things? Well, of course, a lot of it comes down to the shame, the stigma, and the taboos that society has placed on our sexuality. But here's the thing, it's time to challenge them. It's time to challenge those taboos and free ourselves from the shackles of the guilt and shame that hold us back from truly exploring our sexual desires. So let's commit to breaking down those walls, because when we approach sexuality without shame, curiosity becomes liberation, and we open ourselves up to deeper intimacy and pleasure. So many of us carry around shame from past experiences, or from societal expectations, or from things we were just told about sex growing up. But the truth is, our sexuality is a deeply personal thing, and we deserve the freedom to explore it without guilt. So by challenging these taboos, we dismantle that shame that prevents us from enjoying our desires fully. When we stop judging ourselves or our partners for wanting something different, we create safe spaces for exploration and acceptance. And breaking down these barriers isn't just about exploring the naughty stuff. It's about creating deeper connections. When we open up about our curiosities, whether it's kinks, fantasies, or simply trying something new, that's a space for trust and vulnerability. That's where true intimacy flourishes. Instead of hiding behind shame or fear, we can create bonds where we can be fully authentic and explore together without judgment. And it expands your sexual repertoire. One of my favorite phrases. Maybe you've been curious about toys or positions or role play or incorporating BDSM into your sex life. But again, shame around kink and fetish often make us hesitant to try them. But when we challenge that, we give ourselves permission to explore that full spectrum of pleasure. So you might discover new ways to connect and experience deeper satisfaction, all because you embraced your curiosity. And the more we talk openly about different sexual desires and different sexual experiences, the more we all realize there's no such thing as one normal way to do sex. Everyone has their preferences, everyone has their turn-ons, and everyone has their curiosities. What might seem taboo or weird to one person might be a very fulfilling experience for another. So we can redefine what is acceptable in our own sexual lives and remove the judgment that surrounds all of these non-mainstream desires. Now, you don't need to jump into the deep end all at once. You can start experimenting with small changes or trying things that just feel a little outside your comfort zone. If you're curious about incorporating toys, start with something low pressure, like a very simple vibrator. If you want to explore role play, start by discussing playful scenarios that feel fun and not overwhelming. Just keep it a gradual approach that helps you build confidence and helps you trust with your partner whilst exploring new territory. And not everything is going to work for everyone, and that's okay. You might find that something you thought was exciting doesn't resonate with you or your partner, and it's all part of the process. The important thing is just exploring without shame. If something doesn't feel right, just communicate it and shift gears. Just stay open to trial and error, and that is key to finding what truly works for you both. To challenge all of these taboos, we all need to get comfortable talking about this side of sex in a healthy and open way. So whether it is with a partner or maybe it's just with a group of friends, let's normalize these conversations so that they don't feel awkward or shameful. Let's share stories, ask questions, and engage in discussions about what turns us on, about what we're curious about. The more we all talk about it, the more comfortable we can all become with our own sexuality, and the less taboo it feels. Challenging these taboos is one of the most powerful ways to take control of your sex life. By exploring without fear or judgment, you allow yourself to experience sex in a more liberating way. You can create stronger relationships where both partners or all partners feel free to express their desires without shame. So let's ditch it. We're ditching the shame, we're tossing out the stigma, and we are embracing the full spectrum of our sexualities. The more we explore, the more we realize there's no fucking such thing as normal. There's only your normal. So let's talk about it, try it, and most importantly, own it. Number 8, revisit consent regularly. Obviously, my last few episodes, my last bonus episode and the first episode of the season tapped into a lot of things regarding consent. But here is your reminder. Consent is not a one-time checkbox that you tick off before getting down to business. Consent is a fluid, ongoing conversation that should be a natural, celebrated part of every sexual relationship. It's not just a simple yes or no. It's about creating a culture of respect, communication, and trust, and making sure everyone is on the same page every step of the way. And guess what? It doesn't have to be awkward or uncomfortable. In fact, when done right, it can actually make your sex life way more exciting. So, why consent should be a regular check-in? I feel like I've got my lecturer hat back on. It's not a one and done. We all change our minds, and that's completely okay. Just because someone says yes once, it doesn't mean that consent is forever. In fact, it's good practice to check in during intimacy. A simple, how is this feeling for you? Or is this good? Can go a long way in making sure everyone feels safe and comfortable. And it also keeps the pressure off because you can relax if there isn't a guessing game. It builds trust. It's a clear message that you respect each other's boundaries and you respect each other's desires, and that creates a safer, more enjoyable space for everyone. And trust is sexy because when you feel respected, you're free to let go and fully enjoy the moment. It keeps the communication open because check-ins aren't just about saying yes or no. They are a chance to talk about what you like, what you don't, and what you might want to try. And that kind of communication can spark new ideas and keep things fresh. And it's also a great opportunity to share more vulnerable feelings, whether you're nervous about something new or excited to try it. Consent is a superpower. The more you talk about consent, the more natural it becomes. Imagine a world where everyone felt free to ask for what they wanted without shame or fear of rejection, where it wasn't awkward to check in or express a need. That's not just a sex-positive utopia, it's a reality that starts with you. Because when consent becomes a regular part of your relationship, it's empowering for everyone involved. And celebrate it. Consent isn't just about avoiding harm. It's about actively creating pleasure. So let's make it fun. Celebrate it. For example, if your partner enthusiastically says yes to something you want to try, take a moment for them being open and communicative. Throw in compliments. It makes the whole process feel lighter, less clinical, and more connected. Now, how to make consent a regular conversation? Start early. You must begin the conversation, of course, before getting physical. Ask your partner how they are feeling about being intimate that day. What do they want? What feels good? What's a no-go? You can use humor. If it feels a bit awkward at first, which it might, you can lighten it up. It doesn't have to be serious or stiff. This is one of the issues. We had this idea that consent is this huge, weighty, serious conversation, and then it's really off-putting to have it. But it doesn't have to be. It can be playful, it can be easygoing, and still deeply respectful. But check in often. In the moment, ask for verbal consent. Is this feeling good for you? Are you okay with this? It keeps things fluid and ensures that everyone feels seen and heard. Create a safe word or a code. If things are getting intense, or if you are engaging in BDSM play and you want to avoid interrupting the flow, agree on a safe word or a non-verbal signal that means pause or let's reassess. It gives everyone the freedom to communicate without breaking the mood. At the end of the day, consent isn't just about avoiding trouble. It's about enhancing the experience for everyone. And when you revisit consent regularly, you create a foundation of respect that leads to better, more fulfilling sex. And also, when everyone feels comfortable speaking up, the whole experience becomes more fun, more connected, and a whole lot less stressful. So let's not only talk about consent, but let's celebrate it. Because when everyone feels like they have the freedom to express themselves, our connections will go from good to fucking fantastic. Number 9, cultivate body confidence. God, I know this is a real time of year for this one, but this is not just about feeling hot in a bikini, which you all fucking should anyway, but it's about embracing your body exactly as it is and creating a space where you feel confident, worthy, and free in your sexual experiences. Because for a lot of us, of course, there is still this idea that we all need to look a certain way to be desirable. Whether that's because of media, social media, or just the annoying voice in our heads. But none of that is true. None of it is true. Your body, in all its glory, is perfect for whatever you want to do with it. And when you embrace that, it opens up a whole new world of confidence and pleasure. And if you're looking to feel confident in bed, the first step is going to be appreciating yourself inside and out. And that doesn't mean you have to love every little thing, because let's be real, who does? But try to focus on what you do love. Celebrate the parts of your body that make you feel good, whether that's your legs, your smile, or the way your body feels after a good workout. It's all about shifting the narrative from I need to change this to I love this about me. Take some fucking sexy selfies. Grab your phone, strike a pose, and take a pic where you feel hot. Don't worry about it being perfect. What the fuck is perfect? Just focus on how amazing you look in that moment. Bonus points if you send it to yourself as a reminder. It's a small but powerful way to reinforce that your body is beautiful exactly as it is. And let's all keep moving our bodies for pleasure, not for judgment. Whether it's dancing, yoga, or simply just stretching in the morning or the evening, find ways to move your body that feel good, because being active is really important for our physical health. But don't do it to punish yourself or to tone up or to lose weight. Do it because it feels amazing. And when we focus on how movement makes our bodies feel instead of how it makes them look, we reconnect with the joy of being in our skin. And when I first started weight training, I completely underestimated how it would make me feel to feel strong. How I look as a result of anything like that is really just a byproduct. It makes me feel so much better to be able to lift a fucking heavy weight. Like, I feel stronger in my body because of it, and I love that. And I didn't weight train until like the last couple of years. So I'm not someone who started early. You know, I kind of just started it by chance, really, because I started working at a fitness studio, and that came as part of the package, getting to do the classes. But I had no idea that it would change the way that I felt about my body, and that had nothing to do with the aesthetic side of things. So find a way to move your body that you love and makes you feel good. And challenge your negative self-talk. I know we all have those moments where we look in the mirror and we think, ugh, I do not like that part of me. But every time that negative thought pops up, challenge it. And I don't mean toxic positivity, because I'm not into that. But we can all replace negative self-talk with something kind. Instead of, I hate my stomach. My stomach has actually, interestingly, always been the part of my body I have liked the least too. But it's either finding something that you actually love, or I love how my stomach feels when I have a laugh attack. Like, I love that feeling when my stomach is really, really sore because I cannot stop laughing. You know, just something nice towards that part of your body. Because the more you practice shifting that mindset, the more body confidence you will start to feel. And body confidence isn't just for you, it's for your partners too. And it can make our connections deeper. Like, let's compliment each other, and let's make sure it's more than just complimenting each other on the physical, like it absolutely has to be. Compliment each other's energy. Compliment how you make each other feel, the way your bodies move together. Build each other up. That always encourages a more connected sexual experience. But when you are confident in your body, you are more likely to feel comfortable expressing your desires and letting go of insecurities in the bedroom. And when you are more comfortable and relaxed, you will experience more pleasure. So yes, body confidence does lead to better sex. And your body is amazing just the way it is, okay? So let's embrace and appreciate the amazing bodies we've got. Fuck social media, fuck society. When you love yourself, which you should, you unlock a whole new level of freedom, both in and out of the bedroom. You've got this. Look in the mirror and tell yourself that you are fucking beautiful and fucking sexy. Last resolution for 2025. Number 10, reassess sexual values and priorities. Yep, we're getting introspective. Think of it as a sexy self-audit. It's giving January tax return. So where do we really start with this? Well, take some intentional time to reflect on what is working for you and what is not working for you in your sex life. Grab a notebook or a journal, a glass of wine, or your favorite non-alcoholic beverage. Get cozy, whatever makes you feel relaxed, and ask yourself some questions. What do I value most in a sexual relationship? Is it connection? Is it experimentation? Is it feeling desired? Is it having a lot of fun without any strings attached? What are my current boundaries? Are they still serving me, or do they need updating? What beliefs about sex have I been carrying that I might want to let go of? For example, have you been prioritizing pleasing others over your own pleasure? Do you still believe certain things are off limits because of outdated ideas or shame? The goal here is to get really clear on what you actually want, not what your friends, society, or even past partners might have told you is normal or expected. And this might sound daunting, but it's not about uncovering issues. It's about discovering possibilities. Maybe you will realize there's something you've always wanted to try, but never felt confident enough to bring up. Maybe you'll decide you are totally over performative sex, which you should all be, and want to focus on slow, intentional intimacy instead. At the end of 2023, as I sort of said in the introduction, that was a really difficult year for me in terms of sex and romantic interactions, and some bad decisions were made, and I wasn't really happy about it and happy about how that year had looked for me sexually, especially as someone who talks about sex publicly and tries to encourage all of these ways to have a healthier sex life. For me, that sometimes definitely gives me some guilt, because it feels like, oh, should I be talking about these things when this is something that happened in my own personal life? And I decided to, at the beginning of 2024, have a complete sexual reset. So I took, for the first time in a long time, a bit of time out of having sex altogether, whilst I sort of reconfigured how I wanted to proceed with this year. And it was one of the best things that I could have done. And it has been a much, much healthier year for me, sex and interaction wise with sexual partners. So don't be afraid to sit down and really think about this. You know, you might reassess where you're going in your career. You might reassess, are you happy living in the location that you're in? But do we ever really sit down and reassess where we are at with our sex lives? Because I think it's really important. And some ways to get started might be to make a yes, no, or maybe list. You can write down sexual activities or dynamics as, yes, I love this, not for me, maybe I'm curious, but I'm a bit unsure. These are really good ways to map out what excites you and what you are ready to let go of. And it's also a really positive thing to do with a partner, because you can then sometimes match up the lists and see, oh, we're both into this same thing that we haven't ever tried. And it can open up a really cool conversation for you to maybe try it. And there's loads of yes, no, maybe lists already online. Like maybe one day I'll write my own one. But there's lots out there for you to try. And sometimes just having everything written down in front of you makes it a lot easier, because trying to think of all of the things that exist in sex can feel really overwhelming. And communicate with a partner or partners if you are in that position at the moment. You know, if you are in a relationship, have a judgment-free conversation about where there is room to go or what feels fulfilling. Or if you are single, you can use this clarity that you might gain from doing this to guide where you want your dating life to go. Read and watch new things, because sometimes we don't even know what we want until we see it. So check out books, check out workshops, check out podcasts on sexual empowerment, besides this one, of course, to spark some ideas of things you haven't even thought about. And as with consent, this isn't a one-time deal, so check in regularly. Your desires and values might and probably will shift over time, so continue to revisit this process as you grow. But reassessing your sexual values isn't just about what happens in the bedroom. It's about making your sex life an authentic, joyful reflection of who you are right now. So let's leave any outdated beliefs in 2024 and move into 2025 with clarity, control, and confidence. Friends, lovers, listeners, I hope you all have the best start to 2025, and here's to a whole new year talking about all things sex and relationships. Whether you are exploring new experiences, prioritizing communication, or simply taking time to appreciate your body, there is no better time than now to invest in your sexual happiness. Remember, these resolutions are not about perfection. They are about curiosity, growth, and having some fun along the way. Cheers to a 2025 filled with more pleasure and more connection. If you've got your own resolutions and you want to share how you are spicing things up, feel free to slide into my DMs or drop me a message to my Not Gonna Lie link, because I always do love to hear from you. Thank you to everyone who has been with me since the beginning. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, or drop a review, because that actually really helps to elevate the podcast so much. And share it with a friend who might need a little inspiration for their new year too. And then we can welcome them in if they want to come along for the ride in 2025. Keep it sexy, keep it consensual, and keep exploring. I cannot wait to see where this year will take us. But for now, Happy New Year. And thanks for coming. Thank you for tuning in to Sex on the Peach today, and I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find and follow me on Instagram, YouTube and TikTok at Sex on the Peach Cast, and you can also get in touch with me at sexonthepeachcast@gmail.com. Please do continue to like, share, subscribe, rate and review wherever you listen to your podcasts, and I'll see you next week. Love.